which is Oasis, the same as it was last game. Or I actually think that was TBL? Sorry, I missed whose map choice it was, but I think it might have been TBL's, actually. So they're the double Uranus Raw combo. Whereas TCL, who we just saw play, is going double Uranus Zeus this time around. So, interesting to see TCL make that switch. Now the first game we saw from TCL, they did have the Zeus player, 42 Link, who switched from Zeus to Raw between the games, so he's back to Zeus now, even though the map's still Oasis, so be interested to see what the logic behind that was, but I don't think we'll get the answer for that anytime soon, so let's move on. Again, let's see what the map looks like once they scout a bit more, whether it's the 4-island or 2-island setup. The big thing to note there is it affects the playstyle of the map, and that if it's the smaller islands, you've got a more open map, which is easier to raid on, whereas it was just the 2-island setup like last game, you can just throw up one wall and shut off the middle of the map, so it's looking like it might even be one giant island, which would be interesting. In that setup, I actually think there's more room on the sides to begin with, so just to highlight where the players are, so red, yellow, and blue are on one team, that's TCL, so the bottom 3 players are on one team, and then teal, green, and purple on the top are on one team. So the battlefronts will be here, and then here, which just looking at them, especially up top, again, you've got 2 town centers that are extremely close in position. And also quite a bit forward, especially for blue. His third's quite a bit. I think green's a little closer, and then same thing down here. Again, they're relatively far forward and close to each other as well. I'm guessing we'll see Centaurs out of the Zeus player, especially with the double Urano setup. A Hippicon Centaur double team against one of the opposing Uranos players would actually be pretty strong. The Raw player is back in the middle this game, so I'm curious to see what the Raw player goes for strategy-wise. Whether he booms, then if he does boom, where does he choose to attack right after he gets heroic, or does he go for some sort of mythic strategy? A fast mythic from Raw isn't that terrible if they go Son of Osiris, so that's why I was a bit confused by the Horus selection last game instead of Son of Osiris, but the problem with Son of Osiris is if you're against a Zeus player and he still has Bolt, then you can't use it, so the decision to go the fast mythic strategy or not is all dependent on when the Zeus player uses his Bolt, if he wastes it early or not. Interesting to see the Pharaoh empowering the monument building. You'd be much better off with the Pharaoh empowering your gold, where you've got the 3 villagers gathering, rather than boosting the build time of 1 villager. That said, it could be a specific strat he's going for with the early 2nd monument for Raw, so I think we could see some Sphinx play. Raids and harassment out of purple. So blue's using Valor on his oracles, which I'm still not a fan of this, like, unless this tower was protecting a gold that was really far forward, that you then plan on using Termas to gold deny him with. Killing a tower like this doesn't really do too much. Typically in a Landian battle, you're not going to upgrade your towers unless you're playing extremely defensive, so they really just provide line of sight. Meanwhile, you're wasting a Valor on 3 Oracles, which aren't going to help that much. Decent harassment there. I'd much rather see the Oracles going down here, harassing this villager, and knocking that off would be much more effective. That shockwave on 2 villagers like that is extremely interesting. So what that means is blue's going for extremely hard pressure at this point. If you're gonna blow a shockwave on 2 villagers building a counter barracks, that means you're going really hard, so he'll be rallying Terma and stuff across the map. Yeah, so purple's going Bass, so probably Sphinx play. Also getting early farms. So we'll see early rain, which is the right style to play as Raw. Killing a manor like this early can actually be pretty effective because it's going to pop block green and prevent him from building units unless he starts rebuilding a second one now. I've yet to see green build a second manor, so the second he loses this, he's going to be population blocked, which is going to make blue's pressure all that more effective. And yellow's now over here to help. The problem with this strategy is, it'd be 100 times more effective if you like specifically targeted opponent. If they did it to Teal, for example, Teal's got the forward gold mine. If they did this to Teal, kill Teal's tower and Teal's manor, Teal'd then be gold starved and Teal would be absolutely dead. As opposed to green, where he's lost a few buildings, but his gold's still safe back there and stuff. This is a bit risky. I'm surprised green's building this counter barracks out of town center range. That means it can be picked off again like that one. Which I'm surprised they haven't finished it off with it being so low. I don't know why blue's pulling back so far. That's a bit puzzling for me to apply that hard of pressure, double team, and then blue drop back this far. I'm a little confused. Purple's Sphinx raiding the 2 Atlantean players, which I don't think it's done any damage so far, although it did draw back blue's heroes. Blue's scouting. What they need to do if they're doubling green this hard is find his gold and knock him off it. That's the most effective way to play the double team. Especially since purple's doing a nice job booming, getting up all those early farms nicely, with an early use of rain at 7 minutes. That's a pretty decent shockwave from green. He's gonna kill like 6 units as a result, so a good catch there. Blue meanwhile is finding some villagers. If you can get some villager kills, that'll really put green down. At this point though, their focus should be on the gold again. Once you knock green off his gold, he pretty much becomes useless. Without gold, you can't make military units. Alright, purple's heroic through Sekhmet, so he's gonna have scarabs. He's still got his eclipse in his back pocket. So he's gonna go mid-goal army. I think we'll, I think we'll definitely see camels. Could even see elephants with such a strong food economy. blue's gonna spot him, but it's too late. You're not gonna be able to kill the mid goal, especially if he starts unit production out of it. So that was Teal who used Shockwave there, so he's paying attention, so that's good. We're doing a bit of a villager harassment there. We got a fight down here. Counter Shockwave from TCL. Gonna pick off a lot of Green's army here. I don't know if I like the 3 Scarabs. I would rather have seen like 2 or 3 more Sphinx. Just because they're so far pushed back. The Scarabs are good against buildings, and they're a decent meat shield, but they need damage to kill units more than anything at this point, so the Sphinx could provide that. That said, it still looks like they're winning the fight. The pure Termite armies, they're not going to be that effective against camels. But he's got to get a mass of camels, because camels by themselves aren't that strong. But if you get a bunch of them, they'll become more effective, especially with Ra's bonus to camels. Plus 27 hit points, and then speed increase as well. Green's still got 1,000 gold left, so... I also like the mid-goal position of purple. It helps them control the map a bit more. You've got the town center towers cutting off entry through here, or at least doing a bit of damage and deterrent. Terminus can still run by, obviously, but if you want to fully push, having buildings that can shoot arrows in the way will help deter your opponents and make them think twice about trying to attack through those passageways. I've been following the action mostly on the top so far, but down on the bottom it looks like Red's doing a good job harassing Teal. Red's also got a second town center of his own up. Starting to get human units out, which is good. You can't go pure Cent, or otherwise your opponent's just going to make too many villagers to the point where the Centaurs are just wasted, so you need the transition to human units as well, which Red's working on. Blue got a bit caught out there. That could end up costing him dearly. Blue was running his army by and ran right into purple, right on top of the camels, so he lost quite a bit. Not entirely sure why the eclipse was cast all the way back here. I guess it makes the scarabs a little quicker, but it'll increase the damage of a Sphinx or two, but there weren't that many, so that's not too helpful. Meanwhile, the scarabs have to get all the way to Blue's base before they can be doing damage. I think green and purple could have just pushed back normally a bit more, and then used the eclipse once they were closer to Blue's base to just kill all his buildings. Using it so far out has given Blue time to retreat and pick off the scarabs, because they've been having to charge forward without full protection. Green's like left behind, and so are a lot of purple's units as a result of the scarabs just running ahead. And as a result, Blue's going to be able to save his town center, so a slow push and then the eclipse here would have much better off. Red looks like, yep. Where was Teal's army? I guess he was back defending and worrying about the raid, but I really like this from Red, being the first to make the move to take the town center position. Because now, especially with the building wall, it's going to be extremely hard for Teal to knock Red off that position. And then even taking this town center, it's back behind this one, so that'll be difficult for Teal as well. So Red used the ceasefire to help his teammates out. Which kinda sucks because he had Teal knocked off gold completely for a minute or so while Teal got back to defend, but Red had to use ceasefire to help his teammates. So the big problem that Atlantean players run into as the game moves on is once they run out of Valors, especially if they use a Valor on like their Oracles early, they're not going to have enough heroes to defend against the Scarabs. And then as a result of this map, the playstyle of both TCL Atlantean players has been a heavy Terma style, which with the low hunt map makes sense, but there really wasn't a transition into melee units until now, extremely late, so that made the camels that much more effective. Bit of a miscue here by Purple, leaving his units within town center range. Meanwhile, Green was back and out of position, so Purple came out of the ceasefire fighting 2 versus 1. Chariot archers are really he's got good micro, it seems, focusing, but Chariot Archers are extremely vulnerable against Terma. Sometimes as an Egyptian player, you're much better just going classical army against Atlantean because Chariot Archers really aren't going to be able to last more than a few hits against Terma, especially mass Terma. So, bit of a miscue there by Purple, leaving his units within town center range, coming out of the ceasefire. Meanwhile, Green has been relatively weak, so he didn't have that many units, but his units were out of position, so Purple fought 2 versus 1. Red really fortified this position even with towers, which not sure if I'm a fan of the towers unless you're getting pushed. But especially against the destroyer-list army for Teal. Teal's not going to be able to push Red off of this position anytime soon. Does he even have a palace? Okay, the palace is getting built now. Where did Red's Centaur army go? Okay. Okay, so Teal went fast mythic, so that's why he hasn't pushed it on that much damage. And Red's going back to kill off this god power that's creating quite a bit of havoc. I like that Green got this town center up. That's going to help them fortify their position. Blue can do the same, but I don't think Blue's going to be able to. Yellow went back to help defend this Tartarian gate, so extremely nice use of the gate by Teal. Helping his teammates out significantly because they had just gotten pushed back after the battle after ceasefire, and I was even concerned that Green wouldn't be able to get the town center up, so this gate changed everything by forcing Yellow back. Would have liked to have seen Red taking this town center rather than throwing up the extra towers here. Taking the town center is much more important. It's stronger, and then even if you tower up here, Teal doesn't need to attack into it, especially if he can just fortify and take the town center himself and then push into your main. I don't think Red should be in too much trouble once he gets back. Although his hero's low, that concerns me a bit from Red, because these Arcus can just basically kill his ranged hero almost instantly, and then he's got all these Dryads and Birds. The Centaurs will be somewhat effective against the Dryads and Birds, but bit of a miss micro here by Teal, sending the Birds into tower and town center fire. But at the same time, they are killing quite a few villagers of Reds. Teal's doing damage, but he's fighting into several towers. He didn't pick off the hero, which was extremely surprising, granted how low it was. He did fortify this position and probably will try to take that town center, so I do like that. And he is starting to get destroyers out, which will allow him to push in more. Meanwhile, up top, green and purple still haven't taken the forward town center, but they're still pushing in. Definitely have the map control. And they'll have the advantage as the game goes on. With the Egyptian player will get stronger as the game goes on versus Atlantean. Blue is heroic now, but I don't think he's thrown up a palace yet. Meanwhile, yellow is still classical. Looks like blue came back to defend, but that's quite a bit of army to have sitting back doing nothing, especially as you're getting pushed, so hopefully blue will notice that soon. Red was able to push teal back, and he sees teal taking the town center, but red's got a pretty much ranged army of myth units and archers, so he's not going to be able to stop the town center from going up with the palace there protecting it. Surprised we haven't seen the Titan out of teal since he's been mythic for so long. I guess he just doesn't plan on going Titan. So purple did take the forward town center, so that's going to give TBL an advantage. Assuming teal can get this up, TBL will be up one town center. I don't like this fight for red fighting into the palace. I know he's trying to delay the town center from going up, but with the Arcus position behind the palace and the palace fire going down on the archers, add in the lack of melee from red, that's really going to push him back. I don't think red's going to win this fight. He stopped the town center for now, and it looks like teal, with a bit of miss micro there, losing the villagers. Okay, the dryads from yellow are going to change the course of this battle. Add in the fact that blue's there to help, and red is going to be able to push him back and get this town center, so very nicely done from TCL, team-wise. Yellow with the dryad help, and then blue with the Terma help, which he did notice. These are the Terma I mentioned before being down there, so nice play by TCL. Is going to even out the town center factor. And then that'll also allow red preferably to take the town center, which is their Greek player who's going to be the strongest as the game moves on, so both sides have their stronger late game civ with 4 town centers, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So some mythic upgrades from 2 Atlantean players, both on the TCL side, and both getting Tartarian gates, so got one going on near green here. Now blue still has his, so got blues going down near purple's main town center, so to be honest, I would have almost liked to have seen one on teal. Teal's the most vulnerable of the TBL players, so I think casting it on teal's back town center would have been much more effective. Very nice raid here by yellow. There's not too much here for green, and then that's also closest to purple and green's army, so and then mercenaries are going to help defend this for purple, so purple's going to deal with this relatively easy. Plus he's got the raw villagers, which have extra armor and attack, so I think using it on teal's back town center really would have been nice, especially with the push from red on the front. Now we've got green getting mythic and using it on blue's back town center, which I really like. The same theory that I just mentioned with teal applies for blue, in that they're pushing him on the front, so applying it to his back town center where he's vulnerable is nice, but their push isn't that strong at the moment. I think they're raids from blue and yellow. I guess it's buying them some time. Bit of a miss micro there from yellow running into there, but with all those siege towers and army here, they could definitely be pushing in. Blue busy dealing with the gate. Blue's done a nice job fortifying this position though, with extra towers, the palace, and then even just the building wall, using buildings to block enemy units from getting through and funneling them in to choke points, especially if you've got a ranged army, is always effective. So teal builds his Titan first. Or sorry, second. Yellow is the first to get the Titan going. I do wonder if red could have transitioned into like a siege army, and then pushed with lightning storm to just wreck teal's army, and then teal's got all his villagers building a Titan. So without an army and all his villas occupied there, I think red could have done a lot of damage. This underworld really hasn't done much. I think it killed a few villagers on farms here, but there weren't too many buildings in place, and it hasn't really even worked on the citadel. Meanwhile, purple and green are pushing in blue down here. Blue does have quite a few melee units with upgrades. Yep, he's got all his upgrades nicely, so he's able to defend it off and hold. Surprised the raw player who boomed to start the game and was pressured the least of all the players still isn't mythic yet. He's also at the 4 town center, so the way to push this in at this point for TBL would be with the range siege of the Egyptian. That and then forward building, either mid goals or towers, and then get the range siege within the towers, and then there's not much that Atlantean players can do to counter that. Looks like green's here, finally gonna forward build a bit with the palace if he can get that up, but blue's starting to push back nicely. Very nice play from blue, especially being down a town center the whole game. To have his upgrades, fully upgraded units like that off of 2 town centers is pretty impressive. He's also got the high score of the game as well, despite playing on 2 town centers, so a good hold there. Thought green had 2 birds finishing this off. I'm not sure where they went. Yellow continues with some nice raiding here. Still no mythic from purple. I'm extremely puzzled by this. No fortified town center either, so I don't know if the ratings got into his economy a bit. And purple never finished off the underworld, so red's been harassing his back town center. With these upgraded Colossus, this is gonna be trouble. TBL really has no way of dealing with Colossi at this point. So purple just got mythic with Osiris, so he's gonna have the advantage of mummies now, but I don't see any additional mummies coming out, and Raw doesn't have upgraded priests, so these Colossi are just gonna cause havoc. Still no armory upgrades for red yet. Bit of miss micro letting his human units get in range of the Titan. Colossi and heroes to beat on the Titan just fine, but micro the human units away. Ooh. Bit of a miscue there. There's no reason that town center should have gotten back up with 4 Colossi within range. All he needed one of them attacking the town center, and that doesn't get back up. Teal's vulnerable here. There really isn't a lot protecting this town center. I know he's got the tower and stuff, but you could get some range siege there and take it out. Yellow, meanwhile, has his Titan and used it to take out Purple's forward town center here. Green struggled a bit. The early pressure, it worked. It messed up Green's economy a bit. This gate's did a little bit of econ advantage, damage rather, but still hasn't done it. Attack the town center. I guess it was just a little too far away. But Green's significantly behind all the other players in the game, and that's gonna hurt TBL as the game moves on. Yellow, blue, and red are all relatively strong. They've got good economies and are going to be getting the upgrades and stuff. Meanwhile, Green's kind of stuck pretty far behind with no upgrades, so that'll turn the game into more of a 3-on-2 as the game moves on. Looks like Teal and Purple have finally cleaned up the back pressure from red, but now they need to transition and worry about the pressure from the front, and red's beating down this town center. Second Colossi coming. Yeah, Teal's gonna have a hard time cleaning this up. Okay, so we got the mummy support from Purple, which I like. That's their most effective way to dealing with Colossi, is gonna be mummies for TBL. Atlantean heroes, really, just won't cut it. They'll get focused down too easily before they can even dent the Colossi. Even Titans aren't that effective against Colossi because the Colossi have so much HP. Red did bring down the town center though, so it's gonna put Teal in 1 town center against a 4 town center Greek. Still doesn't have full upgrades, but he's getting there. I can find his armories. Still needs to research the attack, heroic attack and mythic hack, but he's drawing Purple's mercenary fire, which is just making it easier for them to push this side as Purple's occupied. Although Purple losing the town center to the Titan, he doesn't even have any town centers near the top here. It's a mercenary spam. I'd like to see blue and yellow start building these town centers. This one's still fortified a bit by the palace and tower, but there's really no... Yep, here we go. Yellow's moving in. Typically you want your player with the stronger economy and more upgraded units to take the town center, so that's why I just quickly checked the upgrades there, and it does look like yellow's a bit stronger than blue at the moment with champion units, and then I think it's 1 more upgrade, so having yellow take it and get a 4th town center seems to be the wiser decision. And yeah, there they are. Blue with an aggressive 4 villager and his army taking this town center, so that's good play. Realizing you've got your opponent on the back foot thanks to your Titan, so as the Titan clears out town centers, you want to claim them and get that population advantage. Teal getting his town center back up down here. I don't don't know if it was the mercenaries that helped, or even with the Titan, I wouldn't have expected him to get that town center back up with the Colossi, but I think the mummies were effective. Yeah, I'd like to see the Greek heroes beating on the Titan, but here they come. I wouldn't mind keeping Belly at the front though. I was gonna say to kill any mummies, but if he doesn't have Colossi pushing, then he doesn't need to worry about the mummies, so having his hero beat on the Titan's the effective use. Yeah, I can tell. A nice tip for beginner players is dealing with Titans. One of the most effective ways you can deal with them is to get your building upgrades. I forget what it's called. The Masons. The Masons and Architect building upgrades. They increase the building HP, and then most importantly, they increase the building hack armor, or crush armor rather. So it'll take the Titan a good extra hit or two to kill any type of buildings, making it harder for them to take down your town centers quickly, and giving your heroes more time to beat on the Titan. So they're not that expensive enough an upgrade, so they're always worth it, especially 30 minutes into a game to get those Masons and Architects for your buildings. So Blue and Yellow have their town centers. The Citadel of Green's been taken out. Green's down to 0 town centers. Or he got this one back up. Surprised. I guess they missed that he was building this town center. They've got the army control in the palace within range, so I'm surprised he was able to build the town center up, given this circumstances. TCL's Titan's pretty much dead. His town center's dead. Red's pretty much finished up his armory upgrades, so I think this is pretty much going to be the game in TCL's favor. No Masons for purple either, so again, his buildings just melt to the Titan without it. It really makes a huge difference, like an extra 2 or 3 hits with giving the Titans like attack speed. It's very important. Green's pretty much got nothing at this point. He's got the number of villagers you'd expect to have him at a classical age. And he's down at 1 town center, so there's the tap out. I think one of the biggest things that cost TBL, to be honest, was the raw players' boom. He got the nice early food off of 1 town center, but he kind of went downhill after that economy and got trade extremely late. As a raw player on this map, especially with a nice early food economy, you want to get your trade as soon as you get heroic and take advantage of it. That way you can merc spam as the game goes on, and then you'll have a really strong economy thanks to that early trade. With that advantage, plus the town center position they had there, they really shouldn't have lost that. And then down at the bottom, a Zeus versus Uranos matchup, it's to be expected that the Greek player will eventually win.